How do you know if you're a leader? Have you got a certification? Are people saying that you're a good leader? Do you believe you're a good leader? Nowadays, leadership seems to mean everything and nothing. So in this video, we will look at what leadership is and if there is a way of measuring your own leadership so you can have a bigger impact on yourself, your team, and your organization. I'll also reveal one ingredient that is essential to becoming the best leader you'll ever be. Ready to be measured? My name is Greg Angelbert. I've had about a 20-year corporate career where I went from being a trainee to eventually a vice president managing director, and from managing myself to eventually about 1,000 people. Today, I'm a master coach helping people, teams, and organizations to know themselves, imagine their future self, and become their future selves. There are many definitions of what leadership is. Let's go through a few definitions so you can see the different angles of those different definitions. Leadership is the ability to influence, motivate, and guide individuals or groups towards a common goal or vision. Another one is leadership is the ability to envision and create a future that inspires and motivates people to work towards that vision. And the third one, leadership is the process of directing and coordinating the work of others to achieve organizational objectives. If we look at keywords through all of those definitions and many other definitions, you will find the following words: guiding, directing, inspiring, influencing, navigating, empowering, mobilizing, achieving a common goal or vision or mission or aspiration. And what is behind all of those terms is basically your personality traits, your skills, whether they are natural or learned, your behaviors, your beliefs, and your mindset. And also leadership can be measured for yourself individually or anybody else, or it can be measured for any size of group, whether it's a team or a complete organization or even a nation. Measuring leadership is complex because of all the different parts that make leadership in the first place, as we could see in the definition. And there are broad categories of measurements that try to capture the different elements that we've just talked about. One category is psychometric tests. They aim at measuring different aspects of your personality, basically what makes you tick and how you would react in different situations. They also try to understand what intrinsically motivates you. Then we have leadership assessments. Their aim is to measure leadership skills and competencies. In effect, this is really measuring where you are right now. Then you have traditional performance metrics. It can be sales figures, it can be other financial results, it can be operational KPIs or any other key performance indicator related to your job. This is very much linked to whether you're creating results or not. Then you have employee engagement surveys. If they are done at the granularity of a team, then you're able to actually see what is the level of engagement, of motivation, and a variety of other factors which is related to this team and usually the leader of that team. You also have succession planning. This is about finding the people in the organizations that could fill certain roles that could evolve throughout the organization. And this type of measure can be more or less objective. There are also a whole set of leadership measures that you can do around specifically teams or a whole of an organization. But we're going to focus on the personal assessment, personal leadership assessment in this video. Understanding what is going on in your mind is the realm of psychometric tests. And there are many different types. One of the category is personality test. The goal of this test is to basically measure some of the characteristics of your personality, so personality traits. You can have things like the Big Five, you can have the Myers-Briggs test, you can have the Enneagram, or you can have the Holland test. And those personality tests can provide an insight on how you behave in certain situations. Then you have cognitive ability tests. These tests are there to measure cognitive abilities, as the name implies, and that can be about verbal reasoning, it can be about arithmetics, it can be about abstract reasoning, etc. So this can be helpful to understand the capabilities in terms of problem solving and sometimes decision making. Then you have emotional intelligence tests. Here the focus is to measure your emotional intelligence according to different factors and to know how you would react in certain situations emotionally. It's also to know how you would understand and respond to others' emotions and how you would be able to build deep relationships. Then you have aptitude tests, which are more related to the aptitude that you have in a specific job or future role. Then you have values and motives tests. Here the focus is on your personal values, on your career motives, and also on your work-related values. That's to understand what deeply motivates you. Then you also have situational judgment tests. Here is to play with different scenarios in a certain situation where you would have to take decision, and it's to measure how you take decision. The focus here is on your decision-making ability. There's a couple of important points to make here. You might have noticed at first some of those tests are not there to be measuring you from bad to good or 1 to 5. They're more focused on just explaining the way you are. So for the tests, which are actually measuring you and rating you, that's where you need to be a little bit careful. For instance, for the cognitive test, there is a book and research done by Howard Gardner, which is about multiple intelligences. And it means that there's a lot more than just emotional and cognitive intelligence. There's many different types of intelligence that we have within us and that we can express in our work in different ways. Because different types of intelligence are useful in different jobs and situations. You like this video so far? Then you know what to do, and also subscribe to the channel and put the notifications on if you want more content like this every week. For summary of key points tools to help you measure and develop your leadership, please check out my Patreon. And check out other YouTube videos and other links that will provide you more information about how to measure your leadership down below. A big category of leadership measurement is done through assessments focused on defined leadership traits. They are called leadership competency frameworks. And here the focus is on skills and competencies that you might have and which are necessary to become a strong leader. And there are tons of them, so I will just give you a few examples. There is a situational leadership model by Hersey and Blanchard. It identifies 4 leadership styles based on the level of competence and commitment demonstrated by followers, and outlines specific behaviors and actions that leaders should take in each situation. You also have the Korn Ferry Hay Group Leadership Traits Inventory. This focuses on 6 styles of leadership that can be used in different situations for a balanced leader. The Transformational Leadership Model by James McGregor Burns. This framework identifies 4 key elements of transformational leadership, including inspirational motivation, intellectual stimulation, individualized consideration, and idealized influence. The Leadership Circle assessment focuses on analyzing how your team members, employees, or colleagues perceive your management skills and characteristics. Each one of those examples work with both a self-assessment and also a 360-degree feedback system from people working for you, peers, or leaders, manager above you. And that's important because we sometimes have, or most of the time have, very distorted visions of ourselves. For all the good that you can derive from measuring elements of leadership, there is a dark side of it. First, leadership is not uniform. The type of leadership needed depends on the situation. It depends on the job that needs to be delivered. It's valid for certain environments. The second aspect is that it's only through looking at many different angles of your leadership that you will truly be able to have a full picture of yourself. If you only do one of those tests, that's useful, but at the same time you will be missing a number of other elements that you might find in some other tests. Also, when you're doing those tests, you can have a self-reporting bias, which means that you're rating yourself higher than your actual leadership. You can also have a social desirability bias when you respond in a way that you believe will be viewed positively by others. There can be a lack of context. A lot of leadership measures are defined according to a general context, so it might be missing the point about your specific context or the context of the organization. You can also have limited reliability and validity if the concepts are not proven and they're actually not measured reliably. You can also have cultural biases if the measurement is done in a certain context, but which is not relevant in another context. Also keep in mind that a number of cultures are actually not comfortable with the aspect of measuring people. And they will be resistant to change if people perceive that they're being measured, they're being put in a box as individuals, as human beings. Now to the secret ingredient. One ring to rule them all. Wrong video. The key ingredient that binds all aspects of leadership development is trust. It forms the foundation of any successful relationship between everyone in an organization. When people trust each other, they're more likely to be engaged, motivated, committed to achieving the team or the organization goal or vision. Trust also enables team members in your team to feel comfortable about sharing their feedback, their ideas, their concerns, and that will lead to better decision making for everyone. If you want to learn more about how to build trust, check this out. Essentially, leadership needs to be anchored in a very strong sense of self, of your values, of your purpose. And that means that we need to define leadership for ourselves. And measuring leadership is great because it allows to understand what other people think about yourself and also what you understand about yourself to have a deeper sense of self. And based on that observation of your behavior, then you're able to act, you're able to start changing what you want to change. For every single one of the 360 leadership assessments that I've been doing, and I've done quite a few, I have used a coach to help me act upon the findings. And I can show you an example here of the one from Korn Ferry Hay Group, which is giving these 6 leadership styles. And basically this is before, and then you can see what happens after. It is not easy to work on those things by yourself. That's why I use the coach. And if you're interested in working on your leadership development based on measurements like this, so measurable improvement, then you can reach out to me. I'll leave you with a quote from Peter Drucker, who is possibly the wisest leadership management guru of the 20th century. The best way to predict your future is to create it. If you're a new manager, a new leader responsible for people, you might be feeling very stressed about this new situation you're in. If so, you might be interested in this video here about the 7 key stresses of new managers, leaders, and how you can find a way of finding peace about them.